not what you eat. You are what you can digest. If we are going to keep shit in our body, we're going to feel shit and we are going to act like shit. Just spend more time and bring more mindfulness in your eating. Ayurveda gives you so much deeper understanding about your own self. We need to continuously take care of eating for fresh, local and seasonal, and taking care of our digestion, because that's the main key.
Chef, Ayurveda-inspired cooking expert, wellness and spirituality messenger. Our guest today on the Settle or Be Better podcast is Amrita Kaur Rana, who's going to be talking to us about efficiently including some core Ayurvedic practices into our lifestyle. So welcome, Amrita, and over to you. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about yourself and how you started studying Ayurveda and what compelled you in the first place.
Thank you so much, Sakshi, for having me over. It's always interesting to go back to see like where have we started and how far we have come. So I always look for this kind of an opportunity. Ayurveda happened to me in my life about 7 years ago. I've been into cooking for like now 12 years, and before I got into this food blogging and cooking and home chefing and food styling and all of that, I was actually a radio jockey before this. So and then I was a medical student before that as well. So I always had interest in sharing more and more. And when I was into food, I realized that I was looking for a deeper philosophy for food as well. When I was teaching cooking, of course, I was catering to people who wanted to learn certain kind of recipes. I was, of course, seeing the whole shift. If you look back at and I was living in Bombay. So if you look back at Bombay, people who were staying at that time, and then how the health had just begun to, people had started having conversations, when the quinoa first time hit in the market, for example, or when we were eating all these different kind of things, newer ingredients were coming into our daily cooking. And I just wanted to also upgrade my knowledge as well. But I also wanted to understand that there was more holistic connection to the food, and that I found in Ayurveda. I also had, personally, I was going through a health, this thing as well, that I was overweight. I was 25 kilos overweight than what I used to be. Plus, I would have breathing issues or my back would pain. And I was like, wait, I can't be like, at the age of 30, I can't be like experiencing this. I need to be more proactive about this, and I need to understand what am I doing wrong. While sometimes we also know what we're doing wrong. And I knew that my food habits, or I wouldn't sleep on time, and then eating at any time that whenever I feel like, and everything was kind of a little chaotic as well. So, and I wanted a little bit more structure and understanding, which is why I went and studied about Ayurveda in Canada. And when I did, it was like when for the first time when I got to know about this Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and like when they were talking about Vata, I was like, oh, like the bulbs were going off, like, oh, like this. I am this now. Now I can understand why I cannot, sleep so well, or why I want to talk, and why I want to have 100 interest area, and so many things were like. I think Ayurveda gives you so much deeper understanding about your own self once you understand the theory of dosha. So you understand that, and once you understand your body better, then it gets easier to then feed it something to balance it, and that's what Ayurveda is about: it bringing your body to balance. And balance in terms of just like all your daily habits, your food habits, movement, everything. And there is so much, there's so much logic, and there's so much science behind this whole idea of when you're eating, and how much gap should there be, and seasonal eating, the importance of that, and all of the lifestyle practices that are around it. So I think it's been an incredible journey, and there's so much to learn. I really wish sometimes that I would have studied Ayurveda, because there's so much, even people who study the whole graduation and do post graduations and do PhDs, they are also still lifelong learning. There's so much in Ayurveda to learn.
True.
So sometimes I feel I wish I had, but whatever I have learned on the way, and whatever I'm still learning and studying, I really enjoy that, and I like sharing about that. So yeah.
That was a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that. And definitely you portray all of this knowledge really beautifully on your page. So for the ones who would love to reach out to Amrita ma'am and, look at a profile there, the description will have the details. And it's really amazing because at times living in this, super modern life and a city life, embracing these practices can be quite difficult. But the way you portray them, it's not like, I can't do it. It's way easier, to accept them and, to think that I can. So thank you for sharing that with us. So how has your cooking changed? Was there a major change in what you used to do before, and eating habits and cooking after getting introduced to
Yeah.
Ayurveda and studying it?
So, yes, there were a lot of things changed as well in terms of like understanding about food combinations, for example. Like, I did not know like there are certain food combinations are not allowed in Ayurveda, and we don't pay attention to these things. Like, and even things like like yogurt, for example. Yogurt is not allowed post sunset. You have yogurt post sunset, and what happens is it increases phlegm and mucus in your body. And I had experienced this earlier, but I did not know that this was the reason. So once I understood this knowledge about this the hard food, which are incompatible foods, then a lot of my cooking also changed. Like, I would very easily add fruit as a dessert, at the end of the meal, for example, or add fruits to other things. And then I realized that, oh, wait, this is not allowed as per Ayurveda. It doesn't go because, and the logic was simple. So it was not that, oh, now it's not allowed and how do I do this? The logic was simple that fruits are so simple, sugar. They're simple to digest, and if you pair it with other things, then it has to sit for that long time, or in the acidic medium in the stomach, and then that starts fermenting. So it made so much sense, and I was like, okay, whatever is applicable, whatever is practically possible, I incorporated that in my thing as well. And I also, there were like, in terms of cooking, there were nuances. Like, I think my cooking got a little bit more nuanced, and it got a little bit more deeper understanding. And then, for example, like if I were making even as a dal, if I were making earlier, I never paid attention to it, but now I knew that, okay, why am I adding tadka to the dal? Why am I adding hing to it, or why am I adding this? Because the dals, the legumes family, they need that, they cause gas, so they increase vata in the body. So that fat is helping us, really reduce that vata quality of it. So when everything gets a little logic and deeper understanding, then then my recipes then from here onwards started flowing that way. Like earlier, if I would make something with ragi or jawar or bajra, and I'm thinking like, wow, I'm eating healthy because it's ragi, jawar, and bajra. And then once you understand about this, that these are only like bajra is supposed to be only had during the winter season because it's warming in nature, or jaggery is better then. And I, if I'm mixing jaggery in my food and then during the summer season, so it's not really helping me that much. It's actually could be harming at that time. So once you understand this, so my cooking and my food choices, all of that got a little bit more nuanced and kind of got realigned basically. So it's been interesting to learn about that. Yeah.
Lovely. And I'm sure that understanding this and approaching food this way would change the way our relationship is with food.
Absolutely.
Because usually we are thinking about it in very different ways, complicated ways, and like this is what I have to do, and there's just so much confusion about it when it comes to our relationship with our food, and it is really hampered these days. The way we see food, or the way we fear food also. In a way. So, how has that happened for you? Like, has your relationship with food changed?
Oh yeah, completely. Like, that has been one interesting. But also, I would not say it's because of Ayurveda. It happened also because along with Ayurveda, I was also going through that my entire personal transformation journey where I was really pulled towards certain spiritual practices. So I started with like chakra meditation, for example, chakra healing meditation. Then I was doing yoga as well. I got into I did an inner child healing with one shaman, and then I got into crystals, and I got into like journaling and new moons and full moon meditations and all of that. And what it all has done is that because it's these all practices, any spiritual practices, they strengthen your connection with your own self. And once you have your own deeper self connection, then you want to honor your body needs. You want to not abuse it. You don't want to put it through something which is going to be difficult for it. So then you don't take this body for granted. You realize that how important it is for us to value what we got, to honor this body, because we are able to sustain our life because of this body. We're able to experience anything because of this. And if we don't take care of this, then what's the point? Because if we have taken this birth as a soul, and this body, this is our home. Home is not where your Amazon orders get delivered, or home is not where, like a physical location only. Home is this body of yours. And more and more these practices hit you, and they bring you back home to yourself. And then you realize how much that shifts in everything, the way you look at food, the way your relationship, the way the same food will nurture you. And I have, like practices, like, and I teach those in my webinars, and about gratitude practice just before having a meal, as simple as that, when the meal is on a plate and we are so fixated in counting the number of calories that it has, the macros and micros and this and that. And I said, you don't need to count all of this. You don't need to count the calories or count macros, micros, or count how many times you're chewing and all of that. You just got to count the blessings on your plate, that you have. You have food on your plate, and the entire universe has conspired for this to reach you. And when you look at that food and you're like, you involve your senses, you look at it, you smell it, you touch it, you feel it, and when you are so immersed mindfully into this food, and then this whole practice becomes almost like वो तो कहते हैं ना कि पहले पेट पूजा फिर काम दूजा. So literally, it's like a paid puja. It's like literally a praying practice. And if this body is a temple, and then this is a prasad, there's a food that you're getting. So it's a very beautiful way to look at it. If you look at food this way, then same food nourishing you so differently, and then everything else aligns for it as well. And I noticed by these anchored thoughts, I was able to correct my health because of that. So this is something that I feel very passionate about sharing. Yeah.
Lovely. That was really insightful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And really, it's a great way to look at food and your life. And I'm sure with Ayurvedic practices, a lot of these other spiritual practices and going internal about all of your thoughts and your routine, it really helps a lot. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now coming to the concept of Vata Pitta, can you shed some light on that, and why is it important to understand and, balance it in our life?
So before I explain about Vata Pitta Kapha, the main thing to know that is that, so I have an interest in Ayurveda subject, so I understood a little bit. I studied about this Vata Pitta Kapha, what are these doshas, how do I balance them and all that. But I also tell people who have never been exposed to that information at all, you don't need to get so technical and got caught up in this, because what happens is, anyone realize, oh, I'm a Vata and I'm a Vata and or I'm a Pitta. And people get on that side that, oh, I'm Pitta and I can do this or I can do that. And there's a limitation sense that our bodies are very, very wise. If you trust it, rather than going for now a Vata diet or a Pitta diet or a Kapha diet, I would just like you to, before I share about that, I would like you to go into this aspect of it, that if you eat fresh, local and seasonal meal, then you don't have to worry about, all of these other things. Fresh, local and seasonal, your body will really, really get more nourishment out of it, and your body will be able to digest, because that's the body's wisdom, and we are connected to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth knows what is best for us. So if we are following these seasonal festivals, so we know that okay, this time now the mangoes are coming in, and then all the other right now bale fruit is in the season, for example, and these the super seasonal or hyper local things, we're forgetting those at all. So once you get into that, don't need to get so complicated about this thing. Our bodies have all three doshas, and we can balance them. The idea is to just to know about this so that it gives you deeper understanding. So Vata Pitta Kapha is basically some people put it as like a bioenergies, or like the fundamental unit of our bodies. Okay, they basically because we know the fact that we all, like you, me, everyone, entire universe, we all are made of 5 elements. These are called Panch Mahabhuta, which is the space, air, fire, water, earth. We are made of all this, and which is why you and I are different. You may have you have longer, thick, luscious hair, for example. I have a dry, brittle hair. Your skin could be a little different than mine. You could be sleeping way more and more deeply than me, or you have a certain different kind of thing. So it's because we all are made of same elements. Then why are we so different? Because the quantity and quality of these elements, they differ in all of us. So now when the space and air, the element comes together, it makes up for this thing called dosha, which is this fundamental energies. So Vata dosha, so space and air makes up of the Vata dosha. Then fire and water comes together to make for Pitta dosha. And water and earth comes together to make Kapha dosha. So they have some functions in our body. They're functional units. Vata is responsible for all the movements happening in our body. So from respiration to circulation to urination, excretion, all of that. The Pitta is responsible for the metabolism. The Kapha is responsible for giving us this structure. The bones, the muscles, the fat, tissues, hair, nail, teeth, everything, the structure. So once you understand this, that this is what the function is. So we need all three. It's not that I need one less than other. But because you may have more fire, you might be a Pitta Prakriti person. I may have more space and air, which is why I'm a Vata person. And usually we are in combinations. So you're Vata Pitta or Pitta Kapha or Kapha Vata or whatever combinations you could be. And how is that decided? This dosha, what you will be born with, what are you going to be? Because the Prakriti, the constitution, the natural constitution that we have, that continues remaining for the rest of our life. We're that only. And that is decided at a when for your karmas and the dharma that you're supposed to do here in this birth as well. What nourishment you received when you were when you were in mother's womb. What kind of emotional state she was in. Of course, both the parents there, like the way the DNA makes up for you, your individual unique code. So similarly, their doshas have also come together to make up for your doshas. So your prakriti is dependent on, and also at the time of the birth, the astrological chart. So where the all these planets were, even that governs what elements will be higher in your body. So as it looks at that, prakriti can be all of that. Now, but the thing is, on a daily basis, because of our lifestyle, because of our food or sleep or drinking habits, whatever, because of whatever we're consuming, they're called dosha because dosh, they say fault. Dosh means fault. So they are so sensitive to all of these different factors that they can easily get imbalanced. And what we get is vikriti. So if their vata is imbalanced, if there's vatas too much, then that person you will notice is like feeling extra anxious. They'll be very like, they won't be able to sleep properly, and they'll be like, the body will be probably too dry, they talk too fast, they cannot focus on anything. So the vata makes up for that kind of thing. That unnecessary extra movements happening. Like, some people constantly just have, they would keep, for no reason, they keep moving their legs. It's the excess vata energy. So, and if your pitta is too much, then you can notice there'll be breakouts and pimples and acne, or acidity, or even just irritable, the anger. It all comes from that from the pitta, which is imbalanced. And kapha, so of course, extra weight, extra fat is also a kapha imbalance as well. And there's a lot of other problems as well when any of these doshas get imbalanced. In fact, they say that once your vata gets imbalanced, there are, they have categorized all the जितने भी diseases हैं, उसमें से the most of the diseases happen because of the vata imbalance, and then pitta and then the kapha. So we need to continuously take care of eating of course, fresh, local and seasonal, and taking care of our digestion, because that's the main key. If you're able to digest things better, if you're able to do that, then it's fine. Then so we don't need to get too complicated about whether I'm this or whether I'm that. But yes, understanding this really helps me, because if I'm a vata person and if I continue to having things which are going to increase vata, so for example, if I continue having more coffee, more cold things, and more dehydrated food, and longer meal gaps, or skip my meals, or not have enough fats in my body, all of that is going to affect my thing. If I'm pitta person, if I'm eating too spicy food again, and if I'm, going for that kind of thing, so then it's going to, add up to my problems. So that's why learning about this helps us with more knowledge. But we should bring all of that in balance, basically, ideally. Yeah.
Understood. That was really well explained.
Thank you.
I mean, there is really a lot of confusion, coming to this. People, and like you well explained, that it might become more complicated if you just live by that kind of factor, So it's a great way to balance it into our life. So thank you for explaining that. Now coming to food combinations, what are some of the common mistakes that, we tend to make when we don't have this knowledge when it comes to food combinations? Because I do remember as a kid, my mom used to tell me, don't have this fruit with milk. Yeah. This might not work with your body. Yeah. But I should be like, what everybody's having, this is just so common, mango shakes, summertime, and all of these things. So can you just shed some light?
So milkshakes are complete viruddhara as per Ayurveda. As I said earlier, also the fruits are basically, they're simple to digest for our body, and so pairing them with other things doesn't make sense. And that sour fruit specifically, fruits have some kind of sourness, and that when it combines with the milk, it's going to curdle. Now when it curdling inside the body, then it's just your body is not going to be able to digest so well, So it's important for us to have, for example, banana and milk are not compatible at all, and banana milkshakes everybody's been having for so long, So also there's a fact that if you have been having something for long, and if it doesn't affect you, if your agni is strong and digestion is strong, and your body develops something called satmaya, it's familiarity with it. So then it's not that you continue having that. If you want to change that, of course, change that, because once you're aware, but your body then is able to digest certain kind of viruddhas. It's able to deal with incompatible food. But otherwise, what we must we can remember is try to not have mixed dairy with the fruits, dairy with the meats. Try to not have yogurt post sunset. Try to not heat the honey because it is very pure. It's ready to eat food. It's very nourishing, and when you're heating it, then it's the molecular property of it is changing. But if you're buying one of those commercial brands which is already pasteurized and heated, then it doesn't make sense, and then honey's not even giving you that advantage. So, but get a good quality honey, a forest honey, wild forest honey, raw honey, and then you incorporate that in your diet. So these are the basic ones, and of course there's so many more. Like so, viruddhas, like it's been divided into like 18 kind of viruddhas. Like if you are, if, like for example, as simple as that, if I'm a Vata person and if I drink like more coffee right now, that becomes viruddha, dosha viruddha for me because I am, you know, imbalancing my dosha as well. There could be something related to Kal viruddha, which is the time related. It could be about the processing of it. So there are different kinds of, and they, you know, if I am here and I constantly crave for, and it's amazing that world has shrunk and I can get, you know, Peru, say like I can get Haas avocados like just like right like that in like probably a few hours. The way, you know, the communication, the transportation is, but do I really, my body doesn't need it, you know, as simple as that. So then it could be like Desha Viruddha, you know, so because whatever is not local to you, and if you continue eating that and your body doesn't know how to digest that, so we got to bring ourselves back into again point of fresh, local and seasonal, you know, and that point, yeah.
Right. Lovely, lovely. That was well explained. And I think the Kala Viruddha, if I'm saying it right, that is something that a lot of people can focus on. And you've already told us some great insights on that, because it's one of the easiest way, I think, that people can take back from this episode today, because you know, like that becomes kind of difficult to manage, you know, with working hours or, you know, with cooking also, because a lot of people don't find the time to cook and, you know, to manage their meals accordingly. So at times we make wrong choices at the wrong time. So that really gives good insight. So coming to a food plate, you know, like for the ones who know Amrita, like, you know, you've seen her page, her beautifully, you know, packed meal plates are just so amazing. And, you know, I want to know, how do you, you know, rightly approach it, you know, into your daily routine? How should a meal plate look like? So obviously it would differ for festivals and everything, but, you know, on a daily routine, how do you approach your meal plate, and what is the right balance for you?
So daily meals are basically, if you look at it, there are certain categories of food which are considered as pathya, which we should have every day. So that would include, like, you know, of course, your fruits and, you know, your ghee and your moong dal and things like that, which are very helpful on a daily diet as well. But if you look at, like, if you're like a meal, there's one concept of shadrasa, which is 6 taste. So there are 6 tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, astringent. So if we include all the 6 tastes in one meal, it categorizes the balanced meal, because each taste has its own individual function. The sweet is nourishing us, you know, the salty is helping us with the electrolyte balance, the sour is helping us with the digestion, the bitter is helping us with removing the toxins of the body, the pungent is helping us with the digestion and circulation, and astringent is helping us with the binding of the stool. So all of it is different. And if you indulge in any of these and have excess of any of these tastes, then also it has the harmful effect. So everything in balance, of course. And anything on your plate, if you look at it, if it is freshly cooked, you know, it will have more prana, more life force, and you will feel more rejuvenated. You will feel more balanced. If you eat something which is constantly, which is processed, which is packaged, which is leftovers, then it's not giving you so much of, you know, that life force in it. So that prana is missing. So it's important for us to see that your meal is well balanced in terms of the taste, in terms of, like, it's fresh, it's local, and it's seasonal 100%. And there's enough, like, fiber, and of course, like, also when you look at the food, like, it should be all colorful. So, and it should be plated well, because you eat with your eyes first. And even if you, like, you serve yourself in different kind of metals, like a kansa or a silver, or thing, cook the food in traditional utensils instead of, you know, using non-sticks that have gone beyond their usage point, you know. So when you start coming back to these super basic practices, everything aligns, and then it just brings you a more holistic nourishment overall. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you for explaining that. It was really a great takeaway for us. Now, lastly, I wanted to know that, you know, what does a typical, going through this school of study, what does a typical day of eating look like? You know, which might, I mean, obviously, like, a lot of these factors might affect one according to their bodies. But what would be kind of one way that people can take back
Yeah.
from today's episode, that they can approach a day of eating that might help them and nourish them?
So I think when Ayurveda was written 5,000 years ago, and there was a lot different things like when people say, "Oh, is refrigerated food allowed or not?" And then what do you say? Because there was no refrigerators 5,000 years back, if you look at it. So there, for example, in the general rules of eating, when you look at it, it says you shouldn't be eating around hungry people. There should be no, hungry people around you, or angry people shouldn't have cooked your meals. And if you look at it, we are having food at street and random places and all of that. So there's a lot of things have of course changed. And refrigerators, if you look at it, so they were not there. So, but Ayurveda gives you that understanding of it, that something which is so cold is going to constrict your vessels. So it's going to not be so good for, like it will be basically accumulation of more toxins and the fat in the body. So it's important for us to have more warm meals and warm drinks and warm this thing. So that way it would say it is against the refrigerator concept. And the Ayurveda is all about eating fresh food. So we are kind of delaying the decay of the food through refrigerator. So we are using it. But if we had to go to super traditional way, then we are not going to use refrigerators and we're going to make fresh food and we're going to have that much only and all of that. But because we have to also see what is what we can take from that ancient wisdom and what we can apply in our modern lifestyle, and then have a more sustainable approach to it. So earlier, if you look at the Ayurveda way of eating, earlier there was this whole point of they followed a lot of like seasons and certain days, and they looked at this, outside weather, and then would decide like how much or what to have. We had more access to the wild forest foods, the herbs, everything. We were doing that. Now we are, and people were more immersed into practices of sourcing their food. For example, they would get their gehuns, they would keep it for the year. They would go whenever they needed a little bit. They would go to the chakki and freshly mill it and use that flour, because they knew that the flour which they get milled, it's going to go rancid, in a while. So they wouldn't like store it for any longer. In fact, there's I keep reading about this. In fact, yesterday only I met this really amazing lady in a flight, and a Jain woman, and she was talking about all these different kitchen principles and all. And she shared a very interesting aspect of that, how in certain seasons, certain months, that they get the atta and they can keep it for 1 month. But in certain seasons, like in this summer season right now, she said from the Kartik Purnima to the Falgun Purnima. So you look at how beautifully the calendar is followed. Okay, and I'm like deeply invested in like these kind of conversations. It's like so enriching. So so from Falgun Purnima, which is from Kartik Purnima, which is Diwali, and then Falgun Purnima is before Holi. So if you look at that, these are colder months. So then they can get they would get atta piswad, and they can keep it up to like a month, and they would have that. And but in this then in the Chaturmas season, that time they could keep it for 20 days because the weather is a little colder. But now in this season, they'll only get 15 dino ka atta, because they know कि उतने बाद वो हो जाएगा. So people were so invested into these kind of practices, So I'm trying to find out where can we find that whole balance as well, for sure. But if you look at the daily thing, then of course waking up in Brahma Muhurat, and this is something I'm also trying to like striving to achieve, and it's honestly it's challenging, because actually we've been so used to making our dinner plans or going out or eating, because ideally you're not supposed to have dinner after your sunset at all, because we're following the sun, So, but now our habits are completely shifted. So what we can bring awareness is, yes, we can wake up as early as possible. We should have warm water as first thing in the, we should do our dincharya. So you're, from tongue cleaning to putting kajal in your eyes to putting oil in your nasal drops to your ears, all of these practices, they're going to help us with the holistically overall in our, like, you're cleaning your tongue and you're doing oil pulling, which is Gandusha. It's all helping you with your gut health. It's all connected. So all of this is helping you with digestion, because ultimately Ayurveda's point is you're not what you eat, you are what you can digest. So entire focus is on the Agni. So whether I am eating right combination, wrong combination or not, whether I'm eating this or what, I'm eating something like, let's say, gourmet recipes, I'm eating like salads, or I'm having my protein shake or whatever, these other things, whatever in the new age thing that you're having. But the important point to see is that, am I digesting it? So what can I do to digest it? I can strengthen my own Agni. And how do I strengthen my Agni? So not like through the whole day, in the morning, this Dincharya practices, having warm water, so you help flush out the toxins from the body. Your natural bowels should be there. We shouldn't be depending on only a coffee or a chai or something else or a laxative to be able to clear our bowels. And certainly we shouldn't go even one day, and leave alone. I don't know how people go 3-4 days, without pooping. Poop is very, very important. If we are going to keep shit in our body, we're going to feel shit and we are going to act like shit people. So it's very important to let the shit go. So and what Ayurveda knowledge does is that is it helps you understand that, okay, this is the natural body's detoxing phenomena, and all I have to do is support it. So if I don't overeat, if I chew my food well, if I don't just have water just after 30 minutes, like you should wait for 30 minutes at least after you had your meal.
Right.
So if you have it that, and you're diluting your digestive enzymes. So these little practices, they're all helping your digestion. So in your daily life, you don't need to change your life at all. You don't need to say, okay, now Amrita said, so okay, I will wake up at 4, I will do meditation, I will do this thing, and I will have this much dry fruits, and then I'll have this breakfast, and then I can have this lunch with this thali, and then evening I can have this. Nobody's going to follow this. There are very few people who can follow this certain kind of lifestyle. And so it's very important for us to know, where am I, what is my life, and what time, and how do I make that better? So yes, eating fruits, dry fruits, that first half of the day is always ideal, having your big main meal, whatever you're eating. And here you can go indulge, because in the afternoon, your Pitta, because the sun is stronger, your body's digestive fire, the Jatha Agni is stronger. You can eat your big meal then. And towards the evening, give it lighter thing, so that your body can go into that sleeping, resting mode as well, but still feel nourished. And if my body is like that I feel hungry after every 2-3 hours, so maybe I want to also look at, did I chew my food well? Does my food has more whole grains? Does my food have enough fiber? So that I feel satiated. If I'm eating like empty calories, then I'm of course not gonna feel nourished, or that I'm gonna constantly be craving for more. And because we all are going through so many emotions, and with the way the world is going, the way everybody is going through something. It's like not that you can say like, okay, you see life better, live better. You can tell yourself these stories, but everybody is going through that thing. And emotional eating is one big part, because we seek comfort from the food, and then we don't know where to stop and how to help ourselves and all that. And then this whole idea of that, then I feel I've eaten this, now I have to work out tomorrow. Now I will not eat this at all. This whole punishing and guilt and all of that, this has made life very complicated. Complicated. So simplify your life. Whatever you're eating, just make sure that you're chewing it well. More focus on eating fresh, local, and seasonal. So I say as much as possible, fresh, local, and seasonal. As much as possible, warm meals, warm spices. As much as possible, maintain the meal gaps. Eat almost on a similar time, so your body has that rhythm to follow. Try to include spices, herbs, all of these spices, so your body can feel more supported. That's the whole idea. Instead of giving one template. Yeah.
Wow. That was really insightful. I hope that people are taking notes, because there's just so much to understand and, to take away with you from this episode. So thank you for sharing that with us. I also remember recently that you shared a very good travel tip, that you always travel with lukewarm water when you're, taking flights. So that was really great. I mean, because we are usually so used to having, cold water and refrigerated water or cold drinks, because when we are traveling, we feel hot and we feel that that's what we need. But actually, this is a great, so thank you so much. It was really insightful. And I also have a lot of takeaways from this episode, because understanding Ayurveda and living by it, and understanding some of these practices really would help us today, because more than ever, because now it's the need of the hour to understand some of these things.
Indeed, it is.
You actually made it sound so simple, and many things are that we can apply right now without overthinking about it. So thank you so much. And are there any last thoughts, any messages that you would like to leave us with for our audience?
No school of thought, one school of thought is right for everyone. Just know that something that's working for the other person may not work for you. Something that's working for you may not work for other people. So don't just follow everything that is like coming in the trend or the fad, and just listen to your body more. When you keep your phone away, move away from the TV, and when you're sitting with your meal, you're paying your gratitude, thank you, thank you, Mother Earth, for this food. or thank your mama who's cooked the food, or thank you Zomato, I hope delivered the food. Like whatever you do, but pay the gratitude, sit with that meal, and let this meal nourish you. And then you'll notice that you will already make better food choices, better this thing, and your body will tell you how much it needs more. You'll never end up overeating or undereating. And so just spend more time and bring more mindfulness in your eating, and you don't need to complicate the subject at all. Just ask your body and more tap into the inner wisdom of the body. We all know these things. It's not that mummy, all of they have said. Even us, we know these inside, but we're not aware that we know. So it's important for us to connect to our bodies and see what it wants, and just give it, and don't play this game. And 100%, another thing don't do is don't be unkind. Don't say unkind things to yourself. If something we fall off if you're not able to stick to a certain routine, start from wherever you are. You don't need to bring guilt and punishment and all of that. We're not eating healthy because we ate yesterday something unhealthy. We're eating healthy because we want to nourish our body today. It's irrespective. So wherever you are, start from there and just be kind to yourself. Yeah.
Lovely. That was a lovely message. Thank you so much, Amrita, once again for gracing our podcast today and enlightening us with so many things that, are easily accessible to us. We might not be aware of them right now, but definitely we can include these practices into our lifestyle. So thank you so much once again for being here. And for the ones who'd like to reach out to Amrita and check her profile, there's so much. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd save each and every post and, have that in my daily life. But thank you so much again once for being here. And the ones who like to reach out, you can find the details in the description below. So definitely go reach out, and also follow Amrita's Day series, which is Basic Ayurveda for Everyone. I don't know, it's a webinar, right, that you conduct?
Yeah, I do webinar as well, yeah.
Right. So definitely, I think I'm also going to be on it very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
that was it.
Share. Yeah.
That was it for today. I am Sakshi Pawar. I'll be your host for the Settle or Be Better podcast. So stay tuned while we bring more inspiring stories your way. You know the drill. Subscribe to the Settle or Be Better podcast. Like, share, and comment on our videos. And hit the bell icon, because you don't want to miss the mind-boggling health discussions we're about to bring for you. Why settle when you can be better?